Alright, let's get started. On today's episode of First Pass, we're taking a hard look at the Farragut class battlecruiser from Elite Dangerous. Being one of only 2 full-size capital ships in-game, this class is a beast to contend with if you're on the wrong side of the combat zone. For this analysis, however, we'll be removing the game balancing and nerfing in favor of a more realistic and lore-consistent look. Without further ado. The Farragut class is a 2,040-meter behemoth of a warship, being the largest military vessels fielded by the Federation, though carriers are arguably even larger, such as the Wells-class Fleet Operations Carrier, which are fairly rare command vessels. As the backbone of the Federation Navy, these battlecruisers functioned as a hybrid of both frontline assault with carrier-style force deployment via onboard corvettes and fighters. Being restricted in size due to treaties between the Federation and the Empire, this class ended up being a jack-of-all mission roles that would normally be filled with multiple classes of larger capital ships. Despite having 2 very different mission doctrines in the same hull, its 2-kilometer length and utilitarian design actually gives it some slack to perform both fairly well. As for the more battleship-style assault role, it fields 3 main weapon types, the first of which being the 8 broadside cannons, split into 2 sets of 4 embedded in the trenches on the sides of the vessel, giving it a degree of armored protection from above and below. They're most useful against medium and large vessels, though small fighters can be obliterated if they stray too close. The second weapons are a series of 16 pulsed lasers ranged on top and bottom of the vessel, providing a powerful laser point defense system against smaller fighters and potentially ordnance. Due to balancing concerns, these are the only 2 weapons the ships fire in the game, and even then have been astronomically nerfed for the same reasons. The third and final weapon type is a series of very powerful torpedo launchers meant for dedicated combat against large capital ships. Obviously, such weapons would annihilate any player ship, thus they aren't really seen in-game outside of lore and rumor. The ship's exterior design is dominated by a series of massive sheets of armor with breaks in between for functional components like hangars, weapons, and sensors. On top of this impressive layer of armor, this ship has a single industrial level shield generator, meaning it can tank as much damage as a space station. Again, I'm avoiding using in-game feats due to nerfing and etc. So realistically, the vessel is an absolute powerhouse in both terms of offense and defense. It does, however, have a notable weakness in the form of its exposed thermal regulation system. Specifically targeting its radiators and heat sinks is an effective way to force it to leave an engagement, or else risk it overheating from continued firing of its weapons. As for its other primary role, being a mobile platform meant for long-range force projection, 12 hangars help to accommodate its onboard force of nearly 90 to 120 F-63 Condor fighters, and very speculatively about 4 to 6 Federal corvettes. Being brought along within the incredibly long-range battlecruiser, the Federal corvettes can bypass their usual issue of poor FSD range and can be effective in any theater. Together they form a powerful escort that is also able to control vast swaths of space. During a more realistic scenario of a trademark showdown between a Majestic-class interdictor and a Farragut class, the Majestic would fall even faster due to being overwhelmed thanks to its far heavier and far more powerful embarked craft and dedicated nature of the Farragut, as opposed to the luxury liner warship hybrid design of the interdictor, which only carries fighters. It is a true symbol of the Federation's doctrine to utilitarianism and function over form. And with that, we've looked at the Farragut-class battlecruiser with an analytical eye. If you have any ideas or suggestions for ships or versus matchups, please comment below. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe for more content, and remember, this was your first pass at the Farragut class.